Just look in the camera. Look at here. There he is.
Hey, how's it going?
He asked
Hey,
me if he was
dude.
with me.
Tell Kerry
He said,
he's
"Hey, dude."
hey.
He
Tell
said,
Kerry
"Tell Carrie."
he's the nicest, like most polite young man I've ever like dealt with in all these interviews ever.
He said, "Out of all the people he's met, you're the biggest asshole he ever met ever."
Yeah,
No,
that's you.
no. He said you're the greatest kid he ever met.
Yeah,
Thank you. I
yeah.
appreciate that.
Okay.
Say,
Hey, I put the heat on you, didn't I, bro?
yeah, dude.
No,
You
he
raised
is
that boy
no.
right.
Listen to me now. That's a compliment.
Yeah.
So, you know what? Start the show off with that, if you don't mind.
Well, I'll tell you what. I was just running record right then. So why don't I start it off now?
All right, cool.
There we go. I was just going to say you raised that boy right because when I was booking an interview through you a couple of years ago, he was just like the most nice, polite lad, like super helpful, super everything. He was great.
You know what, man? I really appreciate that. And for an example, Ric Flair was at Ric Flair's last match show, and Rick walked up to me and he says, "Ricky Morton," he said, "I met your son several times, but today I just want to tell you that he is the most well-mannered kid in this business that I have ever met." And I said, "Wow, Rick, thank you very much. See, that's a compliment, and everything else is just a trip downtown." And then he asked me, he says, "Your wife here, Andrew?" I said, "Sure." I said, "What's up?" He goes, "Oh, I just want to find out who the real daddy is."
You ruined my punchline. I was going to say, where does he get it from?
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying. But even though we're in this business, and he's doing great for himself right now at 22 years of age, you see a compliment like that is a real compliment.
Mm.
Everything else, and I just said this earlier, it's just a trip downtown.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Tell me in fact, actually, I best do the intro. I'm going to leave everything else in. Hello, everybody. It's James here, WSI. You know it's Ricky Morton, for goodness sake. We don't need to do any more of an intro like than that. Tell me about Kerry a bit more then. Obviously, he's making waves in the business, young man making a good impression. He's probably best if Kerry actually told me, but you'll have to tell me for him, is short to medium term, what are his goals in the business in the next 3 years, let's say?
Well, in the next 3 years, and understand me, before I know just goes, but we're going to go back to the beginning. I'm a second generation wrestler. He's a third generation wrestler. When I was a kid, I had to travel with my dad. My dad worked for different territories, Nick Goulis and Jerry Jarrett. And at the time, we had to pull the ring, so I had to go. I have 4 brothers that were never interested in wrestling, even though they went with us, but I did. I just loved professional wrestling ever since I was a kid. And Kerry's the same way. And if you go back and look at a lot of the old pictures and stuff, you always see Kerry standing beside me, just a little kid, all the way from first, all the until he started wrestling. He his goals and really cool. And guys, and I'm going to say this is the reason I love NWA wrestling. I love Billy Corgan, which is the Smashing Pumpkins rock star. But that's not what I'm here for. Kerry, he had a 4-year scholarship in cheerleading as a cheerleader. He's going to be a senior this year, but they won the national championship last year in cheerleading. That's a big deal, bud. And talking with Billy, they offered Kerry another year on his scholarship. Not this year, but the following year, to get his master's degree. And even though in our business we were wrestling, but in education is something that I never was able to get. And just looking back, and see, I never had guaranteed money. I never had that. I mean, I got paid by how many butts I put in the seats, which is horrible. And I will say this, the promoter got the first count off of that.
Mm-hmm.
So what I'm trying to say to you there is we really got screwed. But really, I think back, and I can't blame, which I can. I do blame the promoters and stuff. But I wasn't educated enough to know, that I got worldly blasted. So Billy signed Kerry at NWA through 2005 just for him to get his master's degree in college. And see, that's his goal. Even at his age right now, what he's studying and, majoring in his marketing. And I don't care if people know or not, Kerry just became over the marketing for NWA. We're fixing to start and go in a whole new direction. We have a great TV at NWA. We have great programs. We have great characters. And I think we have one of the greatest girls roster there is. But see, now it's time to start using them right, marketing them right, for everything. A lot of big dreams coming up for NWA. A lot of big stuff. And when I say dreams, it's a lot of big dreams come true stuff that Billy and everybody has worked on for the last 3 or 4 years to get this going. So that's Kerry's goal. And just like any other kid, buddy, it's superstar. That's your goal to this business, is to be one of the best workers in the business. Mm-hmm. And I'm not trying to say I was the greatest in the world, but at my time, to me, that was my goal, to be the best baby face in the business at my time. A lot of people's come and gone then. I can't say I was the greatest ever, but at my time, I was the greatest, I think.
Mm. Did you ever encourage, discourage, or stay out of the way of Kerry when he first said, sort of said that he may be interested in getting into the wrestling business? What did you first say to that?
Well, really not nothing. I didn't push it on him, and I didn't take it away. I don't know if, I have other kids too. Hmm. And one of them that played baseball and football, and one of them, see, if you push it on them, they don't want to play. I see that happen a lot when I was a kid, where the fathers bring their kids to baseball practice and games and just be on their ass the whole time they're there, and it discouraged them. When they got older, they didn't even play. But no, Kerry, ever since he was a kid, he was just like I was, man. He loved this business, and he wanted to be a part of it. And no, I didn't say you should do this or you should do that, because he has his own life to live. Mm-hmm. But I'm telling you, for the time, and see, in my day, it was territories. You didn't have the big companies now that give you the guaranteed money, and I had to fight all the elements, especially, you top baby faces a booker. He damn sure don't want you over him. Mm-hmm. And it's like that all over the place. And you see, normally you did him, and I want everybody to understand this when I fix to say to you, normally in our business, you never got a break in the business till you were 35 or 40 years old. And the reason why is because that's when one of your friends became a booker and he brought you in to use you. But you damn sure didn't work on top. You worked, but you had a job. You see what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. I was lucky. The business was changing, and I was at the right place at the right time. Robert and I, the two All-American kids going against the Russians, at that time there was a big conflict and politics and all that bull crap. And then it just clicked. And, and that's what I was telling Kerry right now. Get involved in a lot of stuff and getting your education. Now, if you stop to look at all the big stars in the world, you stop and look at them, go back and check them out. They all got master's degrees. They all got 4 years of college, and that's what makes Kerry. I don't know if you ever listened to him or not. He's a hell of a talker. Well, in the wrestling business, you say he's great on the stick. He is, but he is great. He's having a little heel run right now, because in our business, I promise you this, when you become a good heel, you become an awesome baby face. Mm-hmm. And he's great on that stick.
I am going to move on to the interview proper. Well, actually, that was actually going to be the first question anyway, because Kerry's there with you, and I've got to ask about Kerry as well. But
Yeah, but he's gone. He's over there in the gym working
we can
out.
talk shit about him now, then, can we?
Oh yeah, man. Little fart. Okay.
First off, in fact, I didn't even tell you this beforehand. I presume there are no stories out of bounds that you don't want me to bring up. There's nothing too bad.
I don't give it.
That's the
Ask me,
spirit.
I tell you.
Good stuff. Right, that might be for something later on, because Dutch Mantel brought up a story that I want to put to you. But before we do, there's a couple of...
Oh, I know exactly where you're going. Okay, but go ahead.
Do you really?
Yes,
In fact,
I
why
do.
don't we just talk about that straight away? So Dutch said something on my podcast with him a month or two ago about a story about you watching TV.
Well, this is the way it is. Back in, I guess, 87, 88, somewhere around here. Tully Blanchard and I was married to my high school sweetheart then. We was married 4 or 5 years, and it wasn't meant for each other. But this is the way this happened. Now, Tully Blanchard was going on the 700 Club, a big religious show. It's right when Tully was, starting to go out, start preaching, and my wife Connie, at that time, she was turning religion, and I just so happened to be off that night. She says, "I want to watch Tully on the 700 Club tonight. I just want to watch him." Now, in our wrestling business, we have a lot of different matches, and the reason I'm saying this is because I'm sitting on the couch beside her, and Tully Blanchard is talking. And they asked Tully some question. He goes, oh, you just don't even know. Every night, cocaine, and me and Ricky Morton and all these, hey, different women. And I actually was sitting on the couch beside my wife. I looked over and I seen horns start growing. I just did a forward row right out on the floor, just forward row. Hey, I watched her. She got up on the couch, walked around to the big arm of the couch, dropped the big elbow. You hear me? 1, 2, 3, loser, leave town. I was gone.
Oh, did you have like a sense of foreboding, like when your wife turned on the TV and you saw Tully Blanchard, and you must have been like, I hope he doesn't say anything.
No.
Oh, you just didn't know.
I was the last thing on my mind for him to do. That's just something you don't do. And I believe that he got caught up so much into what he was doing, he wasn't thinking. I mean, I don't hate him for it. Hell, it was the best thing really personalized that happened to me, because, right after that, I'm with my wife now. And I mean, gosh, how long has this been? 35 years ago. And it's, and please understand me. I'm not here to talk about my personal life. My wife now changed my life. She sure did. I didn't stay up for 10 days at a time. I didn't smoke 3 packs of cigarettes a night and drink a fifth of whiskey no more. She helped me with that, but not agging me with it, but just helping me with it. And it was sometimes you can say that. I mean, I don't have the best life in the world, but it was a blessing from God when he brought her into my life.
I'm going to go sort of back up the script here, and I wanted to bring up a couple of names that have sadly passed away, some big names in the wrestling business. And the first one, I'm not sure how much you cross paths with him, but he died a few months ago, age 79, superstar Billy Graham. How often did you cross paths with Superstar?
I knew Billy. I've wrestled him several times. And what I'm going to go into here right now, and I'll talk about Billy in a minute. I'm like a squirrel jumping from limb to limb.
Oh, don't worry.
But when you ask me a question like it, there's so many things that jump into my mind. All the boys, and if you know me, and this has happened back then because I have some of my friends that got killed in car wrecks and just had a heart attack just like that. every time I'm at a show, and no matter if I like you or don't like you, I'll come and give you a hug. And before I leave, I always tell the boys I love them because I don't know if I see them again. And that's count on myself. I know I might not be alive either. But Superstar Billy Graham was one of the coolest guys. The first time I worked with him, I guess, was in 1980. I was working for Southwest Championship Wrestling. Matter of fact, Tully Blanchard his dad owned the territory. Tully was the booker. But we worked for Paul Bosch, and I'm in Houston, and I was working Superstar Billy Graham, and it really just educated me so much about how the boys should be and shouldn't be. You know, Billy did something to me, and I took a big bump for him. And see, this is what the guys don't understand in our business these days, is how precious it is when somebody sells for you. That's why I tell them, I said, man, don't kick somebody 42 times. You can't sell it. A good babyface, just kick him one time and he can sell it for you. Sell it for you, right? And Billy would do, he'd do something to me and I'd sell it and he'd just bend over and be picking me up. He goes, Ricky Morton, I've heard about you, but I just didn't realize how good you could sell. Thank you so much. And off everything I sold from him, he told me that. And that's something that the guys these days don't even have a clue about. Even when I'm wrestling a guy and he puts me over, when I'm covering him, I say, thank you so much, right in his ear. But Billy was one of the first to do that. Billy was a big icon in our business. And at the moment when I met him, he was still real hot in the business. They flew him in from New York, I think, to Paul Bosch, and I was just getting him ready to wrestle somebody else. I think he was going to get ready to wrestle Nick Bockwinkel. So, that's Billy. Gosh almighty. I love the boys and the girls of our business.
See, with Billy, he's one of the more maybe complicated characters in wrestling to, get an entire picture of, but I'm really happy that you just shared just a really nice memory of him because...
Oh, yes, buddy. I love Billy. I love all the boys.
Next, the second person I'm going to bring up, and everyone always seems to laugh when I bring it up, even though I've just said he's just passed away, the Iron Sheik. I mean, everyone's got a story.
Don't say it. USA.
Did you meet him first when he still had hair and he didn't have the mustache? I mean,
no, he's had the mustache. That's cause just to be around him, it was an experience. And if I could go back and be on the road with him again years ago, I would pay an admission to get in to that back seat of that car. Not only was he a good person, but he was funny as hell. And now, I'm not the one that can throw the first stone. I've been with Cause in many places, Puerto Rico. You know what I'm talking about, boys. I'm not trying to insult anybody's intelligence. I was out there with him. I hung out with him. We did the same thing. I remember we were coming back from, and I don't know if you're familiar about the States or not, but in Texas, you go down into the valley, and that's down by Mexico. And when you come back through, you have to go through it's not customs, but they're just making sure you don't have no dope or nothing coming back from meeting somebody down there by the border. And when we pull there, they recognize us, and the guy says, "Come here, man, I want to show y'all something that we just got." And so we walked into this room, and the police officer, the customer, it was just bales of pot. They just smoking pot, just stacked up everywhere. And the guy cut one of them, and it just popped open real big, and a big old bud about that long stuck out. And Kaz tells him, he goes, hey, maybe on Sheik get sample? I'm going, oh God, Kaz, please don't do that. And then I'm going down the road with Jimmy Garvin and Michael Hayes. We're going to TV in Columbus, Georgia, and I'm in the back seat with Kaz. Right at there that's coming up, it says roadblock. Roadblock in a mile. So look here, Michael Hayes and Jimmy both handed their pot. Throw this out the window. Sheik grabs it, puts it right in his pocket, and he rolls the window down like he threw it out. So we get up there, but the roadblock is where you get off at the exit. We're still going straight, so they're not checking us. And Michael Hayes goes, "Oh God, and Jimmy, we threw our pot away." And Sheik reaches out and pulls it out. And Michael goes, "Oh, gosh, thank you for keeping our pot. You tell throw pot out. Sheik take the heat if get caught. This is Sheik's pot. This belonged to Sheik." Oh, no, he was serious too. He kept them both. But I love Kaz. He was another one. What a character he was in our business.
With Sheik, he always seems to be in so much trouble all the time, and yet never gets the consequences. He always seems to be in car crashes, or he seems to be like confronted by the police and he gets away with it, or he goes to a store to try and buy beer on a Sunday in a dry county, and he always comes away with beer.
Oh yeah,
how does he get away with it?
Well, it just like he's dumbfounded. He don't understand the laws and the stuff of the United States. And plus, I wouldn't say that he was a con man. Not a con man because he had paid for everything he got. He just slick, that's the way I look at it.
I've got to ask this about Sheik as well. You were in WCW at the time when Iron Sheik was unwittingly renewed. WCW unwittingly renewed his contract. I think he had a 1-year contract that would roll over to a second year, and they sent him home after a few matches and just forgot he was under contract. And he got paid for an entire new year.
I heard about that. He's one of the lucky ones. He just but you see, as long as they're paying you and you're sitting at home, I wouldn't call the office either and ask them if I'm booked today. I would just hide.
Before we get into, I always say this, before we get into the interview proper, we're already well into it. A few weeks ago, you did an interview with Sports Keeda, and I didn't watch the video. I just looked at the title, and the title was, "Jim Cornette once molested me with a tennis racket." What's the story there? Because I didn't click it because I wanted to hear it from the horse's mouth.
No, it's just I've been hit with it so many times. I felt violated. No, but not really. I mean, it's just a way of putting it to make it funny. You just don't even understand. And it's Jimmy today. And since you mentioned Jimmy Cornette's name, see, I can help you do your interview here.
Okay.
Because
please carry on.
It's so much I got to say. So much I got to say. I remember when Jimmy used to be the pitcher guy in Louisville, Kentucky. This is where all the boys, because we sell pictures at our tables. Jimmy took the pictures and we bought them from him. He was always around the ring taking pictures, and everybody hated him. Just hated him. His personality of a rock. But it was like that. But I always loved Jimmy. I mean, I don't matter. I don't give a shit. But I was there in Louisville when Jerry Jarrett, that's Jeff Jarrett's dad, he was a promoter of Memphis Wrestling then, but Memphis Wrestling went all over Kentucky and everywhere. And Jimmy was wanting to break into business and be a manager. And Jerry Jarrett told him, which Jerry just passed away too. I love you, Jerry. But he told Jimmy Cornette, said, "Jimmy, if you can get as much heat with the crowd as you do the boys, we're going to make $1 million." And by God, he did. He got over, we, in our days, it's getting a break in a business. And I was telling you about this earlier. You usually get a break in the business, but things were changing. Being at the right place at the right time. We were in Memphis, and Bill Watts, who owned the Mid-South Wrestling out of Louisiana and Tulsa, Oklahoma, Arkansas. But he says he was looking for something different. Now, he was the top babyface. Why? Because he owned the territory. Junkyard Dog was the next one because, he was an unbelievable black superstar. Oh my God. You got to have one like that. But you got to understand, and they did it smart. Bill Superstar Dundee was the booker. They wouldn't let him wrestle. See, Bill Watts wouldn't let the booker wrestle either if we wouldn't push yourself. You see, it's just the way it is. And we come in there at first of all, they put us with Barry Dorso and Nikolai Volkov, the Americans against the Russians. You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And right behind us come the Midnight Express and Jimmy Cornette. And the whole time, Jimmy is talking about us. And we just won the belts. He's talking about us. You see, and that's how they built that pyramid, us being baby faces, we beat all the heels, and them being heels, they beat all the baby faces until we met at top. And Lord and behold, we blew the roof off that territory. I mean, we went from being in little small buildings to high school gyms, from high school gyms to the convention centers, and the convention centers to the Superdome. And I'm serious. That's how that worked. And I have a lot of guys that come to me. I don't know if you ever listened to Jimmy's podcast. And they ask me, you ever listen to Jimmy Cornette's podcast? He's always talking bad about everybody. I said, do you know Jimmy? I said, that's Jimmy. All he's doing is cutting wrestling reviews on them. Jesus Christ, if they're not smart enough to understand that, they don't even need to be in our business. Mm-hmm. Well, he talked about somebody else. I said, he talks about me on there. I don't give a shit. This is what our business is about. And Jimmy makes a hell of a lot of money off that. He don't even leave in his house, since COVID, he don't even leave the house. He has everything delivered to him. He does all that stuff. I mean, that's just the way it is. But I truly love Jimmy Cornette. He was a great icon in our business. He opened up a lot of doors for a lot of other people too. And you got me on a roll. Okay.
I want to ask something that you brought up before. Before he was in the business, he being Jimmy Cornette, you said everybody hated him. Why he was just a photographer? How did he manage to rub everybody the wrong way, even though he was just a photographer?
That was Jimmy's personality. I guess he didn't know. You just don't. We're the boys that respect. I was telling you that earlier, man. Everybody hated his guts. I'd like to fuck with him all the time. He was, piss him off. Hey, I see some of the greatest stuff in the world. We worked, exploring in our business, scaffold matches, where we're way up. And then Jimmy Cornette in a cage. And Jimmy is so scared of heights that it's unbelievable. But the first one was Jimmy's going to be hanging above the ring, and he can't interfere in the match. So they're experimenting. We don't know how to do this stuff. They're doing it again. So they put him in one of these harnesses. You hear me? Mm-hmm. They put it when you got to do it. I mean, you can't just they hooked him and they lifted him up. When it did, this harness pinched his fucking nuts. And and he's up above. Oh, you're gonna kill me here thinking back at this. He's up in the air, up above a ring, and you can see him, and he's screaming, "Get me down! My nuts are squashed." He's motherfuckers. Goddamn. I said, Jimmy, all right, fuck you. Get me down, son of a bitch. Oh, God, this went on. We had to have a match. Oh, he come down from there. He was cutting interviews, screaming at every fucking buddy. But he's scared of heights. Now we had the one so we got rid of that. So having a harness on it, they put him in a cage. Well, it had a hook on top of it. He stands up in it. Well, they pick him up above the ring, and I didn't know Jimmy's scared of heights, and that time real bad. But he sat down in the thing. Y'all go home, finish the match. Let's go home. And finally, he finally stood up in it. When he did, Robert got on the top rope and dove off and grabbed the cage and pushed it, and it was going like this right here. All I could see was Jimmy. I hate you, you son of a bitch, Robert Gibson. Goddamn, yeah. Hey, and listen, you have to be in that position to see this. You have to be there to understand what I'm talking about. I'm literally crying. I'm laughing so hard at situations. But that was Jimmy Cornette. He's a great icon in our business. I love Jimmy. Mm-hmm. I don't care what he says bad about me. I still love him.
That's the spirit. So from a happy memory to, I asked this Al Snow just beforehand in case people don't know, the sort of double interview kind of thing. And it was more or less sort of changes in the business from the 80s, 90s, 70s, 80s, 90s era to today. I'm going to ask you this in a slightly different way. When you were a young kid in the business, I'm sure a lot of old timers were criticizing you for doing too much. You know what I mean? You were fairly high flyers, you were doing hurricane ranas and all that kind of thing. And it seems to happen with every subsequent generation. The next generation comes and the older generation says you shouldn't be doing this and that.
I got you.
But these days, I'm sure, back in the 80s, and you couldn't have envisioned the stuff that some of the wrestlers are doing now as far as like high flying and acrobatics and that kind of thing. But with that in mind, knowing that every generation sort of disapproves of the generation that follows it, with bearing that in mind, what do you think the generation of wrestlers today are doing right? What do you think they're doing wrong? And what's the best advice you would give a younger wrestler listening to this now?
Well, understand this right here. You really have only like 4 major wrestling organizations. WWE, AEW, NWA, and Impact. And when you're on TV, but see, the other 90% are out on the independent circuit trying to make it. And see, I get it. I work with young guys. Matter of fact, I'm going to plug this right now while I'm here. Mm-hmm. Matter of fact, you can go on YouTube, American time on Eastern at 5:05 every Sunday, live from the School of Morton. I have people that want to break into business. But you got to understand it's a wrestling school. So maybe it might not be the best thing in the world. It's a wrestling school. That's where you're learning at. And what I do is I teach you how to do TV. And for instance, I'm going to tell you how bad that business has changed. When I first broke into business in Memphis, you only had like 5 matches. Your first 3 matches underneath, then you had a tag match, and then you had the main event. I remember being the first and second matches, and it ain't the part about me slowing down. I'll get to that here in a minute too. But, I remember I went out and I drop kicked. In my match, I drop kicked somebody. When I come back, they grab me. Said, you're in the first match. Just work an arm. That's all you do. No fist, no nothing. And then I see the guys, especially, they start their match off throwing fist. I don't like that. Nobody knows even how to grab a headlock no more. I don't think. But I understand. Yes, I did hurricane Karanas. I did that. That's what. But mostly that wasn't about what I did. See, my job, it's what made us what we were, is I sewed. And I gave Robert Gibson a hot tag. I do a few little spots, but I sell for 45 minutes sometimes, fighting to tag Robert, never dying. And if you have a good heel, he will never let the babyface die. He'll keep you alive the whole time. You don't have that nowadays. I watch the guys. I say, and especially when you're on an independent circuit, I see not long ago this kid ran and dived. He did about 3 flips over the top rope, and he lands a splash on a guy on a table. Okay, that's cool. That's good to see. But if you're going to do it so many times on YouTube, or when you get to the big company, it's not new no more. You see what I'm saying?
Mm.
What these guys don't really understand is taking care of yourself and taking care of your opponent. Nowadays, nobody gives a shit about who you wrestle. You don't care if you break their neck or arm. And see, I told you earlier in there that we all took care of each other. I knew my job. My job was to pay. See, not only did the territory depend on me working on top, the first match did. See, that's where really I got all my heat at. I was, because it wasn't paying the boys, it was keeping the money. And we out there working our asses off doing this. But to get back to the young people or our business, yes, some of it's great. But I've seen a lot of kids. You ever notice you see somebody on YouTube that did something great, then you don't see them no more. You know why? It's because they hurt. I got that's my dog over there, and they don't really understand. And this is what I wanted to tell you. I'm back up here.
Okay.
It's the younger guys in our business, and ain't the part about that. It's they don't know. I'm on the road all the time, and I'm trying to work with this younger generation, but they don't understand our business. They just don't understand it. They think that now it's just to do a high spot. Let's do a high spot here. You ever notice? You ever watch some of the matches and the bell rings and everybody starts hitting the ropes? Mm-hmm. What the fuck? What are you establishing? What kind of story are you on? But the young generation, yes, it's high flying and it's all that stuff. But you stop and look right here, and I tell the heels a lot when I'm on the road, and then they look at me like I got a turd on my fucking head. Is I say, listen, guys, quit giving these guys these big moves because you keep covering them. They keep kicking out. It's making you look like you're a fucking deadbeat. You don't understand what I'm saying to you. And then the baby face beats you with a small package. Jesus Christ. And I always try to tell a story. Like your opponent, I'm an agent in a couple of stores. What, should I go out and eat this guy up? I said, what are you asking me that for? I mean, if you go out there and you make your opponent, if you make him somebody, well, when the match is over, you beat somebody. It's only the way that you tell your story. And the younger generation, with all their high flyings and all they're doing, if they would learn how to tell a story to do that high spot, to do that high flying spot, it'd be great. Because I was sit and watch. But when I sit and watch matches, they're going so fast these days that when I turn around and ask beside me what they just do, and I turn back around, they did 3 more spots. You see what I'm saying? That's my part. I don't know if I answered your question right or not. And I went out, I went down to Texas and came back talking about it. But this is where, hey, I'm sorry. Hold on for a minute. This is
there's a dog going as well. I'll pause.
No, just hold on for. Leave me on.
No,
leave me on there.
I'll pause. No, okay. No,
leave me on there. Hey, Vince, I can't make Monday Night Raw. Thank you. Okay, now, all right, I'm back.
Well, I actually want to. I thought you were actually pausing because the dog came in briefly. Then I want to pick up.
It's all right.
I want to pick up on something that you said before. You said a good baby face needs a good heel. What is, especially in a tag match, you said, you shone brightest when you had a good heel. What does a good heel do to make them a good heel for you to work with?
Well, first of all, especially during the heat, and I get on people like this right here a lot, is during the heat. I mean, they're getting the heat on the baby face and they're doing it in their corner. Now, did you ever work? You ever wrestle?
I've never wrestled, no.
Okay. Now, if I'm getting the heat and I'm a heel on the baby face in my corner, what's that doing? It's burying his partner over there in the other corner because he's got to keep coming in. It's burying a referee. And I just tell him, I say, listen, guys, take the heel out of your corner. He can sell in that corner over there just as good as he can to one right here. And then when the babyface comes in, y'all can switch. It's something that people don't see no more, and it's so exciting. A good heel, well, he's talking to you the whole time because you're selling, and he's going to give you a point. You know who's a great worker that, and I watch a lot, is Sheamus at WWE. And you got to understand, he works hard, he lays it in. But you notice he's not doing stuff to you and keep covering you. That's his gimmick. You ever watch him walk over people? Well, that's why he's doing that for, because he's not trying to kill himself off, and he's keeping you up. You see what I'm saying? But just stepping over you. A lot of guys don't understand that. I first time I ever watched Sheamus work, I went, hell, man, this guy's fucking great. He knows what he's doing. And it's a lot of people like that. You got to understand our business. I just told CM Punk not long ago, I said, bro, and it's not there to kiss his ass or nothing like that right there, but I'm just telling the truth. I mean, what a credit you are to our business, because you understand what other people don't understand. And it's not, and it's not the part of him being a part of an asshole. It's a part of that he knows what's good for the business that other people don't understand. Other people, all they understand is it's about me. It's not about you. And that's truthful. I'm just saying that true. You see, and you stop, go back and look at some of CM Punk stuff in his interviews. It makes sense. Everything he does makes sense. And if some of these people would stop and listen to him sometimes, instead of thinking they know every goddamn thing in our business and actually don't know nothing, that's what really pisses me off. I don't know how we got here, but let's go to the next question.
I'm glad we're here, because that's exactly where I was going, because I wanted you to tell me of, I know you're not going to be watching wrestling religiously, you're a busy man, you're on the road a lot as well, but you'll know the big players. You've said Sheamus, you've said CM Punk, you can wax lyrical more on them if you like, but who are the guys currently on top now that absolutely get it, in your opinion?
Chris Jericho. Chris is badass, buddy. I don't know if you really watch, and I want to give him a shout out to, and this is a wholly different thing that we're not talking about here. Chris made a lot of money in this business. Chris is a rock star, but what really gets me is you, and nobody else knows how much he takes care of people. A lot of people in the business he takes care of. They don't even have to ask him. He's just there. You see what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And that's what really, that's up and beyond of anything. If you ever notice it, every time one of the boys die, I don't know if you know this or not, Chris Jericho buries them. Mm-hmm. He pays for everything. You see, and gosh, that's just, you see how much of wow, I kind of got a tear in my eye, because it makes me understand that somebody does at least care. It's a lot of guys in our business that are great. I'm not like for WWE, take in consideration, a lot of the big stars came from there. And that's what I was talking about earlier, everybody having an education to understand what they're doing. I mean, look at Roman Reigns, but he went to Georgia Tech. It's great. You hear me? The storyline that they're doing with him right now, and the Uzos and all them, I think it's fantastic. At least it's other than something. Look at Brock Lesnar. Even though, even me, being me right now, I'd buy a ticket and watch him wrestle. But he's up and beyond. He's a monster. You understand me? You see me? He does his role right. He plays that role, and dude, I like that. It's just about a part about drawing money, and he did his part. Brock Lesnar does, and I like him for that. I know Brock, but I don't know him. I just, I seen him when they put us in the Hall of Fame, and and I was walking by him. And he said, "Hi, Ricky Morton. It's been a long time." And I walked over and shook his hand. I said, "Thank you. Good to see you too." But I didn't bother him because fuck, he was main event that night. Randy Orton, I love him. I love all the guys. I mean, I can't not sit here and tell you something that I don't like. No, but we get to AEW, but we got to keep the drama. You got to keep the dramas out of the dressing rooms because all that's going to do is hurt everybody. Me, I don't judge somebody like that. I told you earlier, I love all the boys and girls of our business. And you know what? And you don't even understand this right here too. See, I'm an old man. I'll be 67 next month. I've sat out here on the road, and I don't do it because I think that I'm somebody that I'm not. I'm from the old school. I know shit that I can teach you. I tell people to come to my school, even the boys, and they do. Some of them that's been working 10 years, and Camille just come to my school not long ago. And it's not about doing that, but I know a part of the business that y'all have no clue about, that you don't even understand how to communicate into. A lot of the guys don't even know what the office is. And I don't know if you do or not, but you come to my school and I teach you. But I'm just trying to say they don't understand. And they hadn't been in a part of the business or had somebody that trained them that's from my era. You see, I get a lot, you get a lot of shit on over social media and stuff. Why don't you retire and let some young kids get there? But why? Because if the young kids on the match and I'm not, even though I'm not still over, but at least I do draw 1,000 people. You hear me? At a show. Okay, Ricky Morton won't be there. Okay, you could have your young talent there, and there's 6 people out in the crowd. What does that do? And not being an asshole. I'm just telling you the truth. That's the reason I'm still there, and I'm still there to help you. Nobody even understands that I watch everything. Guys ask, will you watch my match? You know what I'm saying? Well, I'm going to anyway. I watch everything. I'm a talent scout. For a lot of people.
What percentage of talent on any given show will actually come up to you and ask your advice?
10%. And then when you do see them, this just happened the other day. I told them, I said, listen, man, when you're out there in the ring, you got an opponent with you. I says, goddamn. I mean, when your own opponent is worried about you hurting them. You see what I'm saying? I mean, not your opponent, but your own partner is worried about you hurting them in the fucking ring. Something's wrong, and it's just, and I go back to the same thing I told you a while ago. They look at you like you got a turd on your head. So it's, wow, man, this is a good interview. Thank you.
Oh, dude, I ask a couple of questions and I shut up. That's all I need to do. Okay. No one's tuning in for me. Trust me.
Got you, buddy.
We have fan questions and a lot of fan questions. As I said with Al Snow beforehand, I put a post up 24 hours ago. We got over 100 questions back, so we're going to go through as many as we can. We'll play a little game here and there, a bit of name association again, or whatever comes up. And the first one is, I'll also say this, is that my printer has printed out all the names in light pink, so I don't have my glasses on, so if I can't read, then I'm sorry. Can't read your name, I'm sorry. So, North Philly P. I need to hear about the rivalry with Flair. I remember seeing that as a kid, knowing that Morton stepped in some shit.
Oh, God. You talk about the match of Philly?
Yeah.
Oh, is that the one you're talking about?
Yep.
I just got to get me. Oh, gosh. You don't know. I was just in Philly. Matter of fact, I'm in Philly this coming weekend. The biggest heel town that people could ever imagine. These son of a bitches don't even like ice cream up there. They hate everything. You hear what I'm saying? And Flair being I'm just going to say this. Flair, I don't care who you're out there, who you are. I'm not saying the best worker. I'm saying Ric Flair was the greatest world champion of all times. All times, bar none, and I don't see nobody even in the run to take his place. Shot my little angle with Flair. And if you notice, and guys, you always understand this, some of the greatest shit in our life and our business just happened. I knew I was fixing to go at the first doing angle with Flair. But did you guys see where I slapped him on TV?
Oh yeah.
Okay, none of that was rehearsed. Do you understand that?
Right.
We didn't have a writer in the back that went over that. Dusty Rhodes is a booker, and Dusty knew when he picked his talent that we knew how to handle the situations when it come up. I just come out and there's Flair walks out. He's got that little bra. He's got to say something, and and then see it. I'm sitting there talking to him, scratching my back and arm because I'm wondering where in the hell is this going. And he did that, and here's Flair. He's got a $500 pair of sunglasses on. And he's talking to me, and he's telling me, pull my glasses off and stomp them. Y'all can't hear it. So I did that. Something. He slapped me, and me and him started fighting, and the shit was on. You see, a lot of that, all these things just happened. They wasn't over it. It was, this was a hell of an angle that went. But to get back to Philly, I was telling you, the people don't like ice cream there. They played. I went to the ring first, and holy shit, they throwing shit at me. Bye, bye, bye. I was everything but Ricky Morton. Okay, then here comes Flair. All right. The robe on, the people are losing their fucking minds. They're Ric Flair. It's a heel town. Okay, to stop and look at here, that these guys out here in today's world. Oh, I went out wrestled you and I was a baby face. Yeah. I'm getting to get back to you. I was wrestling the guy the other day. He told me, he goes, when I go out with you tonight, some of the people are liable to cheer me. I said, they're going to cheer you because you want them to cheer you. If you don't, they won't. Dumbass. Okay. So now, here comes Flair. These people are going ape shit. And then we kayfabed because you didn't, when I got in the ring, the referee told us, he said, Mart, hour Broadway. That means we're going to the time limit. Okay. 10 minutes in that match, and I'm telling you now, they hated me. But see, this is what makes the best of the best. 10 minutes in that match, Ric Flair had completely turned this whole fucking crowd. Young boys in the business, if you're listening to this and you're hearing me, understand this is what our business is about. Okay, I mean, he turned everybody in that building. And now they pushing the guardrails up to the ring. You know what I'm saying? I could see a guy coming in, and I tell Rick to hit me, and I take a bump and bump into him, and I knock him out of the, off the rope apron and shit. I mean, they was coming in the ring after him. Well, Arn Anderson seen that, and he come down to the ringside. He had to ease his way in there and get a gap and clean it up. And so here come Robert down there to get this, and understand me, Ric Flair told me, said, damn, Ricky, I got some heat tonight. He goes, listen, I'm going to throw you over the top rope, but land on the apron right here. Don't land on nobody. Then go up the top turnbuckle. And see, and when I did that, because everybody's looking at me, I go up the top turnbuckle, and Ric Flair slides out right beside Arn, and they leave the building. I mean, they leave because they're fixing to get fucking killed. You see what I'm saying? Now, believe in my business or don't. Yes, our business is a work, and our business is entertainment, and our business is wrestling. Still today, at 67 years old, which I'll be next month, I can still make the people believe I'm still hurt. You see what I'm saying? No matter what. No matter if you're that mark on TV that think you know everything about it, you're not. Even though if you're that one out there that always criticizing every son of a bitch that gets in the ring, except for the one that's risking his life doing high spots off the top rope and off the down balconies that you support. Understand, this is the part about wrestling. And when Rick got back there, it was, the referee counted him out and raised my hand. You see you had to be there to understand that feeling and understand how them people just switch and go that way.
And to read the room, that seems like something that new wrestlers don't talk about. They don't read the room. They don't react to the audience. They've got a preconceived notion of what they're going to do.
They go, listen to me, buddy. They go over every spot. And even today, I tell guys, I said, listen, I might do this in the match, but if it comes up, but if it don't, it don't. I can't start a match off and you telling me that we're going to do this and do this and do this. I have to go out and listen to the people. I could tell you if they want to be mad. I could tell you if they want to laugh. I could tell you if they want to cry. You see what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And I'm sorry I'm looking off. My dog's over here.
No, don't worry.
Oh, he finally, I'm going to open this door up for he can go out in the gym.
I'll pause one sec. The dog is out, and now we've got plenty more questions for Ricky Morton. And the next one is, just while you were just nipping out for a minute, I've hashtagged or whatever you want, asterisked some of the ones I wanted to ask you. David Frederick has asked, my first house show at age 16 was August 16th, 1986 at the Philadelphia Civic Center. It's Philly again, when the Rock and Roll Express defeated Dennis Condrey and Bobby Eaton for their third NWA World Tag Team titles. I became a fan for life. Only Jim Cornette has talked about that night. Please share your memories of that 2 out of 3 falls match.
You see, a match really is based on timing. I wrestled Bobby and Dennis a million times, and it was just the finishes of the match, telling the stories of each one. It was another thing. It was the same thing again. The starting of that match is how, we had to change ground, in Philadelphia. There's some heel fucking fans out there, buddy. And it used to, but you're asking me this question off the bat, which is cool. I remember some of the finishes in it. I remember the one where Dennis Condrey gave me a knee and I went out on the floor and everybody thought I was fucking dead. But it was just, we had so many great matches with the Midnight Express. I'm sorry. No, I can remember just a little bit of it, but but every match we had with them was classic to me. And if I fuck this question up, I'm sorry. I just can't remember a lot of shit. All right. Hi, sweetheart. Hi, honey bunny. What you doing? Listen, I'm live on a podcast right now, and you're talking to me live on a podcast. So let me. What's that now? You want to play Hi Dwayne? Is that what you said? Huh? All right. All right. I love you, baby doll. All right. I'll call you back. Bye. See, I told her ass off.
Ricky told me to record that as well, just before you thought there was a private, intimate moment there.
No, it's cool. I wanted you to record it. It's good. That's great shit.
It's great shit, pal. It's great shit. I'm going to move on. And next question is, if I can really squint here, I can read the name. Michael King. No one ever uses my questions, but here goes. Well, guess what? We are. I know Dusty didn't care for Ricky and Robert, and Ricky said in previous talks with others he really didn't want to be champion. But does he believe it was more him, Dusty, Rick, or his size that was the reason for not getting a run with the strap? I mean, Ronnie Garvin, for Christ's sake. Ricky would have been 10,000 times better than Ronnie Garvin as champion.
I really hate to go into this segment, but we're going to. Don't get me wrong. I love Dusty as much as anybody in this world. But Dusty was Dusty. Dusty was the booker. Do you understand me?
Mm-hmm.
Now, don't get me wrong. When we first came in, everything was Dusty's ideas, and Dusty was the candy kid. I mean, he done just took a territory to the expectations that nobody ever knew that he could. Okay, now the reason I had my run with Flair, and you got to understand this right here, is they were grooming. Let me get that out right. Grooming Magnum TA to be the world champion, but Magnum had a car wreck and got paralyzed. Then all of a sudden, you see, and I haven't really done anything with Rick. I hadn't even worked with him, but he watched, and Robert got hurt one night, and we're doing TV, and Rick see me in a single match. And when I came back, he said, God, I was standing right there. He went right there with the Crockett's and Dusty. He said, man, I like to do an angle with him. And so we shot our angles, and holy shit, it was over. And I don't know if you know this or not. It's a lot of things. The Rock and Roll Express, we were over. Holy fuck, we were over. I knew we were getting screwed in a lot of different ways. And Dusty, he tried to split me and Robert up many a times. But I made Robert a promise. And if any of your boys are out here in this business and understand me, when I go to bed every night, I can go to bed sleeping good because I never fucked over anybody in my life, especially when it's in this business. Did a lot of crazy shit in this business. I wrestled Ric Flair in Richmond, Virginia. And I don't know if you know this or not, or anybody don't. A lot of people don't admit to it, but it did. I beat Ric Flair for the world title in Richmond, Virginia. It was a finish that can go either way. You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And I got back and I had the belt and I walked in the dressing room. It wasn't Rick. It was Dusty and all them. Well, now listen now, you're the world champion. We're going to have to fire Robert. You see, that's how much we were over, buddy. And he said, the reason we got to fire Robert because everybody's going to have to beat him for you to wrestle. And I'm sitting there and I told Jimmy Crockett and Dusty, and I had the belt and I said, here you go. I don't want it. That was it. I know you're getting back, don't get me wrong. I respect Ronnie Garvin. And nobody's going to tell you this. And see, I don't make Ronnie like asshole. I love Ronnie to death, but that's the reason they put the belt on Ronnie Garvin. Mm. Okay. And, but you see him, maybe not everybody will agree with my story, but everybody wasn't there. You understand me?
Let me.
I even heard.
Sorry, I was going to say. Let me tell you what Robert told me last year, and it was just more or less the same question. And Robert said Dusty didn't like that the Rock and Roll Express was selling out arenas without Dusty on the card.
Well, Dusty told me that one time. He, you had an A team and a B team, and I'm gonna give you two examples of the B team. Wahoo was on it, and Dick Murdoch, okay, and all the other talent. And the Midnight Express, our heels was on there, Midnight Express, that was it. Everywhere we went, they had the A team and the B team. The A team would be in Baltimore, you know what I'm saying, or they'd be in New York, the Meadowlands. Me and Robert will be in Florence, South Carolina, little bitty towns that when we went there, instead of being in the high school gyms, we sold out their high school football stadiums. Unbelievable. And then the reason I said that earlier with, because they're in the big towns not drawing shit. I remember Dusty, he said, him and Dick Murdoch told the Wahoo, says, all right, especially Murdoch, because he punishes at him. He said, now, have you learned your lesson? You ready to come back to the A team? and Dick Murdoch and Wahoo both said, "Why, hell no! You make a lot more money on with the Rock and Roll Express." And you see, that's the whole thing. Dusty did tell me. He said, "Bud, you got to understand, I'm the booker. You don't sell a build it out without being on the card." But it's all right. I'm not holding that against Dusty. I even told Cody one time. I said, "Cody, I said I loved you, Dad, but me and him had more fuck you fights than anybody in the world." Not trying to say we had to buy the balls. No, Dusty fired us. That was in like June, and NWA folded like in September or October. Lost everything. Yeah. It's was a sad thing. So something that was so great, and this is what I'm not a part of, jealousy, and I'm not a part of that. I'm a part about what's works and what don't. And the guy who's the guy that asked that question?
Oh, I've got it on the page before. Bear with me one second. He was called
it's all right.
He was called Michael King.
Michael King. Maybe nobody's ever answered your questions before, but today you're on the spot. I want to say hi to you. It's a lot of wrestling fans. Even me, being 67 years old, I cannot ever read all the messages that I get on there because there's so many. Nobody neglected you. You're still a wrestling fan, and we appreciate you as much as anybody does. So thank you for your question. If anybody else is out there that hadn't been answered, just hold on. We're coming.
We're coming. We don't have 5 days to get to all these questions, but we're going to ask the best ones.
Yes, we can.
And I'm going to give you one more cheery, and then we're going to get to our first little game. And Baby Daddy and some numbers. Everybody has a New Jack story. Do you have any stories about the late, great hardcore legend?
Yes, I do. And if I hurt anybody's feelings, because I know we live in a world today, New Jack, him and Mustafa, they were partners. They just came to Smoky Mountain. Now, this is in the early 90s, and you still had segregation a little bit. I mean, it's sad to say this. You understand, especially up in Smoky Mountain area, it was clan country. Not me, but it's clan country. Here, Mustafa and New Jack come in. They're greener than owl shit. They don't know about a lot of stuff. And we shot an angle. First of all, New Jack and Mustafa, this is Rodney King stuff. I don't know if you know anything about that in California. Yeah. Okay, they Rodney King me on TV, and then they tarred and feathered me. Do you understand what I'm saying? You talking about some damn heat. And I'm going to say this too, because New Jack came in a Corvette, brand new Corvette driving. I told him, I said, "Listen, bud, you don't need to drive that Corvette to the towns. I know it's cool." I said, "You need to get you a $200 or $300 car and just park your Corvette, then drive it there." And he said, "Oh man, okay." And the first night he understood. He broke his antenna off and they're trying to rush his car. He's locked in it in that Corvette. And I never forget that I'm going to a town. I'm going down the road and here's a van in front of me. And you could tell the tires are smaller this side and it's going down the road like this. And I pull up beside it, look, and it's New Jack driving it. I ain't driving mine yet, brand new car there again. But I'm wrestling New Jack in Morristown, Tennessee. And all of a sudden, he just jumped out of the ring and beat the piss out of a guy on the front row. I mean, just beat his ass. And it killed our match off. It killed the heat. The police were down there and everything. And I get him to the back, and I'm hot too. I said, "What the fuck you doing this?" So I walked up to him. I said, "New Jack, what the fuck you doing?" He said, "The guy on the front row called me the N-word." I went, fuck. I said, bud, listen to me. I know that you're green and you're young in this business, but buddy, you tarred and feather me. You Rodney King me. We're up here in the middle of Klan country, and I'm sorry. I'm sorry if this guy didn't come up to you and say, "Hey, Mr. Black Man, would you please quit that?" Oh, he's cussing. Well, God, die about that. And then right after that, they left and went to ECW. And I say New Jack, and he come up to me, says, Ricky Morton. He says, what an education. Because when I break people into business and I'm talking to them, I can't teach you to work. You have to teach yourself, but you have to work with better people than you to get better. I say, I'm going to say something to you, a lot of you, that right now you're not going to understand a fucking word I'm saying. I'll be better off talking to that wall, but one day it'll hit you. And when I say New Jack for that time, he says, Ricky Morton, what a fucking education you gave me. He said, I was so mad at you for saying that, about that, because I didn't understand. He said, thank you. Thank you so much for doing that. And it taught me lessons along the road about being a heel and about being a baby face. He said, I didn't really realize that. It took me a couple of years to figure out that. And he said, I just wanted to thank you so much for what you did.
That guy bought a ticket to boo him, and that's what it's about.
Yes. Okay. But then you got to understand. I mean, they're beating the hell out of me, hitting me with chains and bricks. I mean, 2x4s. And this guy was just into the match. He got lost in the moment. You see what I'm saying?
Yep.
And got his ass whooped for it. Okay.
I'm going to do our first. If we get to a second game, fantastic. But if we don't, we don't. But I'm going to give you a little game. It's just bests and worst. I'm going to give you a subject, and you tell me the best of that subject and the worst of that subject. And the first one is the best and worst giants of wrestling other than Andre.
Oh, that's a hard one. The best one is Paul White, Big Show. Unbelievable. He learned the business fast, and he come into it. And one of my favorite friends in the world was Elegante. To me, he was the worst because and the reason why is, I have pictures of me and he on my wall where I look like his little son that's 3 years old standing next to him. But literally, he's passed away, and I really loved him, but he was so tall that he was scared to take a bump, and stop to think about this. And it really took, later on, I understood why, because hell, he's 7'6" in the air, that his head's falling that far to the mat. But you have to learn our business. You have to go with it. But I think Paul White was aggressive, and I'm not just knocking Elegante. I loved him. He was my friend, but they needed to train him a different way, to me.
The best tag team you ever wrestled apart from the Midnights?
Four Horsemen.
Great answer. Best and worst? Well, forget about the worst ones. Best midget wrestler?
Oh, God, I know. So Cowboy Lane was my greatest. Did you know Cowboy Lane?
No, I didn't.
Can I tell you a story?
Please tell
me
a story.
Cowboy Lane. And I want all the people out here to understand me, because you don't understand until I tell you this. We were in Louisiana, and Cowboy, he's passed away too, but Cowboy Lane was standing there, and being blessed by God is something special, because Cowboy Lane was this tall, but the other half of his body, his pecker was that big. Do you understand me? Brother, I'm telling you, he looked like a horse there, and he's a little bitty guy. So he just, I got to tell you this, guys, and I love this story you've heard, but this girl kept trying to come in the dressing room, talk to me and Robert. So, and Cowboy Lane just come out of the shower. but he's got his back, and the whole towel's taking up his body on the back. He's wiping it. And I told the girl, I says, look in here. So she looked in, and he's standing there with a towel. And she was going to say, look what a cute little ass, right? But it didn't get to that. He's waited. She goes, oh, look what a cute little, and he turned around. And she went, God damn, what a dick. I lost my damn mind. You know what? I seen Cowboy Lane, and this is what I talk about good workers. Mm-hmm. Guys out there, if you ever want to know who a good worker is somebody that can have a match with anybody. I told you earlier, my favorite, I'm getting back to Cowboy Lane. This is what I'm saying this for. My favorite, a good worker can work with anybody, and that's what I'm saying. Jerry Lawler was the best worker ever, I think. It still is. I mean, he just had a stroke, but he could have a match with anybody. And I watched him shoot an angle on Memphis TV with Cowboy Lane, a midget. Monday night in the Coliseum, it sold out. There's 10,000 people there. Lawler and the midget is main event. They absolutely tore the house completely down, and the midget beat Jerry Lawler. But see, that was a story. I mean, what a match they had. That's what makes a good worker. That was Cowboy Lane. But don't get me wrong. See, this is business. Now, the next Saturday on TV, Jerry Lawler assassinated him. But you see what I'm saying? But to get that part over, because then you went from town to town, and your tapes were a week behind. It happened everywhere. Louisville, Evansville, that's territory wrestling. So my greatest is Cowboy Lane.
Mm-hmm. A better answer than I could have ever hoped for there. Foreign countries, the best and worst foreign countries you ever wrestled in.
Japan is by far the best I've ever been to. If you're out there and you've never been to Japan, it's the most cleanest city in the world. You never see trash. You don't even see a cigarette butt on the sidewalk. People there, they walk up under their jackets or in their purse. All of them carry plastic bags, and their trash they put in there, and they wait till they get home to throw it away. And that's a shoot. Mm-hmm. The greatest food, the nicest, polite people. I remember one of the boys were there, and we was at a bar, and he lost his billfold. And listen now, he didn't realize he lost it. He didn't know where he lost it. All his IDs and shit was in there, and I think we had to take a bullet train everywhere to the next town, way out of there, because we're out of Tokyo for about like a week. And a fella shows up at the wrestling matches to bring his billfold. He got a hold of Baba's company and found out where we're at, and he personally delivered that billfold to him. And the reason why he personally delivered it to him was because he didn't know if he was married or not, and he didn't want his wife to know he was in that bar. You say, is that cool or what?
Yeah.
And he listened, and they tried to reward him, pay for everything, and he wouldn't take a penny. No. Chop, no. I love that. In the worst country I've been in, and please forgive me. I'd say India.
Mm-hmm.
It's just a smell and hot. Good God! But I'm pleased. I'm not going to go in more than that. India.
Well, I'll tell you what. Because we mentioned Japan, or you mentioned Japan. What was the first year you went to Japan? And just tell me about the culture shock that you suffered or enjoyed.
Oh, buddy, I can tell you this right here. I think it was 1987. Right after, it was right after we left NWA.
Yeah, so it was all. Was it all Japan? Was it all Japan you went to?
Yeah, it was Baba's
group.
All Japan. But you got to understand, I've never been there before. I've never been out of the country. at that time. Well, I've been to Mexico, but that was all. But when I go there, at that time, it ain't like it is Americanized now, and your transportation, back then you didn't have straight flights. You had to fly from where I'm at to Atlanta, either to Los Angeles or Portland, Oregon, in another 8-hour layover. Then you fly to Japan, another 17 hours. And then when you get off of it, you got to wait for all the boys to come in, another 4 or 5 hours. And if people don't even understand how big Japan or Tokyo is, I mean, just going to your hotel takes you 4 hours in a bus, and after all that traveling. But when I got there and the food, it's all different. We don't have. I never forget we got outside of Tokyo where they didn't have Mickey D's and KFC. It's well, you didn't have all that. Restaurants, it's like a Rivera Steakhouse. Everybody thinks it's this big steakhouse. Hell, it only holds 7 people. We get the jackets. It's just a little bitty thing. And then is to see how that works. And most of the time, you just go in and sit down and you order. When you get up, somebody else sits down. But we were out of Tokyo. And I remember, when you're out of there, you go into a restaurant. They don't have menus. It's what they made that day. So I'll go in there and I sit down and they bring my food out. Hell, it's still crawling, and it's moving around. And I asked the Japanese, I said, what is this? He goes, food, eat it, good. All right. Look here, here's me. I ain't eating that shit. I didn't order shit. If I order shit, I eat shit. But I didn't order this shit. I don't want this shit. But we're there for 2 or 3 days. Now, I've snuck around and got some fruit and some vegetables at the before they sell them out and shit. But let me tell you, I'm hungry. So I went back in that restaurant and I sat down and ordered me 3 of that shit. And I ate all that shit. You hear me? No, it was a great cultural shock to understand and to learn how to enjoy their food. After that, I loved it. And then I turned my wife on to it. Like in Japan, when you go to a Japanese steakhouse, I mean, I'm not in Japan, I'm here in America, and they're Japanese steakhouse, that ain't nothing Japanese steakhouse. Chinese restaurant, that ain't nothing Chinese. It's none of that. I know in Japan, your beef, 9 out of 10 times your beef's horse, but it's good, or cow tongue. But see, I mean, when you learn how to eat that, and then you learn how great it is, and I love that stuff. I enjoyed Japan so much. I still do.
When I first went to Japan, I just had the habit of going to, the guy behind what essentially looks like a bar. And you say, can I have whatever food? And they don't answer you. They don't talk to you. They just point you towards the vending machine, where you then have to work out what number corresponds to what picture meal. And then in the end, you can't work it out. So you just got to, 43, that'll do. And then just give them that and just hope you get something that you want to eat.
Oh, yeah, I got you. You know what? On the roadside, like rest areas, that's where they had the great food at. I don't know if you ever did that there. It was where they had your ramen noodles and all that shit. And ramen noodles there ain't like what you buy in the grocery store. Here, I mean, it's great, man.
Yeah. They always. The only problem is they always give it, whatever meal you have, they always give you like the noodle water that they cooked it in as well, and that's disgusting. But miso soup and stuff, I hate that. But anyway, other people love it. Just before we get off Japan, the first time you went, the first tour you had, I've heard the story so many times with debutantes in Japan always getting tested by the local boys. Did you get tested in your first matches?
Well, you know what's coming. It wasn't the first time we went there. Wait a minute. It was the first time we went there. Damn sure was. They had a tag team there. They're Rock and Roll Express tag team. They were called Footloose. And And during our day, it wasn't a part. Me and Robert were little guys, and it wasn't a part that we were tough. It was just a part that it won't be we had a set of balls on us. If you whoop my ass, it won't be the first time, but a hot cup of soup and a good night's sleep, you got to whoop my ass again tomorrow. Just the way it is. Uh, for the last, I know when we were on tour, like I told you earlier, I like to go out and watch the matches because you see, I always told you this: a great worker is somebody that can wrestle anybody. Not that. So I'd watch the matches because I didn't know who we were going to be wrestling or not, but I did know that we were going to be wrestling Footloose. So I'd go out and watch them wrestle, see what they do, how to rotate it, and get in a ring with them. And it's about 2 weeks into the tour, and I tried to talk to them a lot. They wouldn't even talk to us; just turn around, walk off. So it come the night we were working with them, and that for some reason that night it was right there together. And I asked, Joe said you're going Broadway, 30-minute Broadway. So I walked over to him and I went, me and Robert did, and I said, any hot spots? He looked at me like, no, no hot spot. We do no hot spot. Kind of jealous of us, I guess. I don't know. Because the Japanese girls went nuts when we came out. But excuse me, I've got coughed up there. So we go to the ring, and one of them, for some fucking death wish, he just hauls off and slaps the fuck out of Robert. I mean, slaps him. And then a matter of seconds, Robert had him in between the ropes. It's in a matter of a minute, this motherfucker looked like Elephant Man. His goddamn eyes were all swollen up and shit. And the other one there came running, and this, I don't know why I had a chair, but I hit him with it sideways. And not this way, I hit it with him sideways across his fucking head. Bam. And it wasn't because it's just the way it happened. Boom. And they ran back to the dressing room. And, this match was over in 30 seconds. And I looked at, I never forget, I looked at Robert. I says, I guess we're fired from here. He goes, well, fuck, we was looking for a job when he found this motherfucker. And he jumps out of the ring. Goes straight back to their dressing room. And our dressing room, that's the Japanese boys' dressing room. The Americans just don't go in there. I'm right behind him. He goes right in there, and he's sitting over in a chair, and Robert goes right over and kicks him right in the fucking face. Whomp! He goes back, and the Japanese boys grab him. I went, holy fuck. So we go back. Our match didn't go but 30 seconds that night. And so we go back, and the next day, we know he hadn't heard nothing. We pull up to the town, and I seen both of them right there with our buses pulling up. And I told Robert, I said, Robert, these two motherfuckers are waiting on us. I says, boom, we went right to the front of the thing. When that door opened up, we jumped off right in their face, because, going to let them get we're you're a day late and a dollar short, brother, when it comes to that. We jumped right in their face, and all of a sudden they stood up straight like this and go, tonight we do very, very many high spots, and started bowing. Hey, they picked our bags up and carried them in for the rest of the whole fucking tour. We gained their respect. You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yes, that's all.
It's just why they always seem to try that. No matter who you are, the first tour, there's always somebody there waiting to at least try it on with you. That's like,
well, and you got to understand, we were the Rock and Roll Express in the States, but we were over. Mm-hmm. And, and then every company tries something. They put two of their young boys together to make them Footloose. It's a rock and roll song similar to us, and they dress similar to us. But boy, did they get an ass whooping.
That's the spirit.
Okay, let's go.
I'll ask you a couple more. Best and worst enhancement talent.
Okay, now explain that to me again. But the best talent or worst
Sorry,
talent?
sorry. The best and worst. So pick your favorite enhancement talents and the ones who didn't do as good a job as maybe they should have done.
That's hard. I mean, you're talking about talent that got breaks in the business, and when they did, they done good. Is that what you're asking me?
Yeah, well, I'm talking about the guys like a George South or a Bob Cook or a Barry Horowitz. Like of all those, the guys, the Carpenters. Who were the best of those?
Well, understand when I first met all these guys, our business was very sacred. You didn't get in our business unless you were good. George South was one of the best. Now I know two people that it wasn't their fault, but it was when Bill Hurd took over WCW, and he brought a tag team in called the fucking Ding Dongs from Bellsville. Do you remember that?
Oh, how could I ever forget? Yeah.
Okay, now, and I'm thinking it wasn't their fault. But what the fuck? That was the most stupidest fucking gimmick, and the guy should have known not to even fucking do it. He thought that, a guy that run a pizza place that come into our business thinking he'd know, he was fucking horrible. Bless their hearts. It was the worst I ever seen. That was. But other words, you're talking about the underneath guys.
Mm-hmm.
The underneath guys is what got the top guys over. They were great. Now, by far, George South, he still works with me a lot. Mm-hmm. And I could still, at 67 years old, and George South, I could wrestle him. Every time I wrestle him, when the shows are over, the police are always waiting out back. And that's because we stowed the fucking show. Okay. So, and I'm serious. I could, and say, this is called working. And people go, well, y'all didn't do nothing. I said, yeah, but listen to the crowd. I mean, when you got the crowd hollering rock and roll as loud as you can, what do I want to lock up for? Because when I lock up, they're going to go down. I've worked George South. We didn't even lock up for 20 minutes in the match because the people were losing their damn mind. Even as today, I mean, that's George is a big icon in our business. He trains people to wrestle. He trains, he does seminars. He does all that stuff. He's absolutely wonderful and still is. You ever listen to George talk?
I've interviewed George.
In fact, you goof, you dummy.
Sorry, I was going to say I had the pleasure to interview him, and he, in the wrestling parlance, he put you over big as well.
Oh, thank you. He likes my son Kerry too.
I'm going to give you one more of these. Tell me your favorite wrestling commentator.
Lance Russell.
Easy
Memphis,
one.
Tennessee.
Easy one.
Yes. But I'm glad you asked this right here. I like to talk in our business, and I like to explain.
Is that Vince again?
Yeah, I've told him 1,000 times I cannot make Monday Night Raw. And I'm glad you said this because I love Gordon Soley too, but Gordon was my friend. And I know you guys used to watch TBS on Saturdays and, Gordon to be commentating. But see, Gordon, and a lot of people don't know this, Gordon, he had polio. And a lot of people didn't know that, That. That's the reason he stood up all the time, and, he walked like this right here. But Gordon, TBS started early in the morning, like at 9:00, but it showed that night. We filmed it in the morning time, and none of us has been to bed, and all of us have got hangovers. But Gordon, he drank. Gordon had a fifth of fucking whiskey under that podium he had. And in between commercials and everything right there, he'd make him a big drink. Well, at the end of that, about an hour was gone into the show, and if you ever watch him back, Gordon got a hell of a buzz going on. So, and Gordon had these big words. I don't know what the fuck he was saying, but I'd fun with him, and I'd tell him, I'd walk out during a commercial break or something on that show. I said, damn, Gordon, I'm looking in a dictionary, and the word you just said, where he hit him, is some kind of monkey, right? And Gordon would gladly tell me to go fuck myself. You hear me? And I told Gordon, I said, Gordon, if I could do that, I could save myself about 50 grand a year. And he looked at me. I said, I cracked my neck more than once trying. You know what I got? Go fuck yourself. I love Gordon. No, Lance, I started my big thing. I started for Nick Gillis, but then when I went to Memphis and I got to meet Lance, and Lance, he just, good morning, wrestling fans. And it just caught my attention. And he, Lance has passed away, but Lance was my friend, and he could talk. He could make nothing into something every time. I like Jim Ross. I like all these guys, but Lance Russell was actually my favorite. Now, and I'm going to tell you about Jim Ross. I worked territories when I was a kid in Oklahoma, and Jim Russell, when Leroy McGurk owned this territory, and Jim Ross, I at home somewhere, and I will find it. I got a tape of me and Jim. Jim Ross is interviewing me. Jim Ross don't weigh 150 pounds. He's about the same age, just a little bit older than I am, a couple of years. And he's talking to me, and I'm talking. I can't say shit with a mouthful. I can't do an interview. I'm scared to death. And Jim Ross is on there. And Jim Ross became one of my great friends. Every morning before we went to TV, we did interviews, and I'd stop by McDonald's and get that egg McMuffin. And we're on interview. And then you did interviews where you cut away, because you have the heels here and the baby faces here. And I'm with Jim Ross, and Jim Ross will go, he'll be doing an interview. We got this match coming up with the Rock and Roll Express. And here's Butch Reed and Buddy Landell over here. They was in the studio earlier with this, but it'd be live. They cut an interview over there live, then it'd come back to us. And but I ate the egg McMuffin that day, and I eased that son of a bitch out. And Jim Ross was on there, and he'd go, and it put back to him and said, ladies and gentlemen, I think we're in a pretty smelly situation at this time. Oh, I'll fucking lose it. But that's how he covered things up. That's the way guys do. Other day, me and Robert in the car, and I farted, and he asked me, he goes, did you fart? I says, no, I'm just checking to see if you had COVID.
Oh, goodness me. I'm so pleased you told me that story, because Robert thought it was Jim Ross who said it, and who did it and then said it.
No, that was me. I ate that egg McMuffin that morning.
We're gonna move.
Some things guys are proud of. Okay, let's go. He did that. I like Tony Schiavone. I like all of them. But Lance Russell, he's like my first date. He was my first, and I liked him.
Right, I've got a few more fan questions here. Unfortunately, I've lost this guy's name. So, nameless fella, I'm going to ask you a question. Ricky Morton versus Kevin Nash, the War of Words. This must have been the first feud that was born out of the new shoot interview video thing.
Now listen to me, okay? We're in a business, all right? Now we're not on TV. We're not on here. I'm out on the independent circuit, not making a fucking dime. You hear me? So I did an interview like we're doing now, and then somebody asked me about Kevin Nash and an incident. But see, the incident was a work too. And I called him a cocksucker. I called him a motherfucker. I called him the shits. And boom, I went through this whole thing. But when the interview was over, Robert Gibson goes, "Why did you say that for?" I said, "Robert, watch. One day he will bite on it." You hear me? Kevin, now, if Kevin's smart to our business, he knows I don't mean shit about that. The same thing we was talking about Jimmy Cornette earlier. If you're smart to the business, you know that's just what they do. You know, Jimmy Cornette probably makes 50 grand a month off his damn podcast. He's got all these sponsors and stuff. Hell, I'll be on there stirring up shit too. But then I'm on the independent circuit. So what happens? Kevin Nash bites. Now we got all these interviews with Kevin Nash is coming, 7'7", all man. You understand what I'm saying? Here I am, this little son of a bitch, but I'm fighting for the righteous of the independent worker. You're the guy that did this shit right here. Listen to me. This is an independent show. At that time, it was the biggest fucking crowd they ever had. You hear me?
Mm.
This son of a bitch was sold out, a big old building. It was on pay-per-view. All right. I made what I got guaranteed. That's the biggest payoff I ever had in my life. I think I got paid like $4 grand for that son of a bitch. And then I got paid $3 grand off the pay-per-view money. You see what I'm saying? That's a $7,000 house. Now, everybody is out there listening and everybody is out there understanding something. Who's a dumbass, me or you? You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
I did this before it even happened. I was the first one to do it. Now they do it all the time. And nobody buys it, but people believed it. And that's the difference between, if I went on there and said, "Oh, Kevin Nash, I know you're a big guy." No, you cocksucker. That was you, Nobody wants to be called a cocksucker. Yeah, unless you are one, it don't matter. It don't matter.
It doesn't matter either way.
No, it don't matter either way. I'm just trying to make $1.
Mm.
And Kevin Nash, he knew that. We had a hell of a match together. It's just the way it is, fella.
Okay, I'm back. And sorry, in fact, I don't even think people knew I paused then briefly. Here's the next question. F. Deadly Commissar, I think that's his name. Please ask if Ricky remembers the story where he, Robert Gibson, and Dutch Mantell were in Delaware. They all got out of a limo. Now, do you know the story from here, or do I need to remind you more?
No, you have to remind me more.
You were approached by a narcotics vendor. Your impression of the vendor when he recognized Dutch is hilarious.
Oh, no. That wasn't that happened in Memphis, Tennessee. This was, we just pulled up there. We're fixing to, the motel that we stayed at in Memphis, it gradually turned into a dope motel and a hooker motel. And Robert wasn't with us. It's just being Dutch. And because I was driving and I pulled up and at my car, and the brother's trying to sell his, he's got a big old hat on. But man, big old feather in it. It's just like he was watching a TV movie.
Mm.
And he walked up to me saying, "Hey, boy, would you like to get one of my girls over here?" And just so happened, Dutch got out of the door and he's talking to me and he looked over at Dutch Mantell like this. He goes, and all of a sudden his head goes. And he looks back at me and he goes, "Dutch Mantell, bad motherfucker, baby." Right? And then he asked me, "You want to buy some cocaine?" At that time, that was right down my alley. Fucking yeah, dude. Okay, so yeah, that's Dutch Mantell. Me and Dutch were by myself. That's happened in Memphis, Tennessee.
I'm going to have to tell. I did not know that story. I'm going to have to tell Dutch. I'm speaking to him tomorrow. I will bring that up tomorrow to him.
Yeah, Dutch Mantell, bad motherfucker, baby. Dutch is wanting me to do one of his podcasts, but his is on Thursdays. And shit, I'm gone. I'm on the road. Yeah. Tell Dutch that. Tell him, you're going to have to grab me where it's not a Thursday.
What day? Okay. What day?
Oh, he wanted me to do one this Thursday, but I travel it, buddy. I'm on the road. and it's a good thing. Just last week, I didn't even sleep for 2 days for traveling. I was in North Carolina. I had to drive all night, catch a flight at 5 o'clock in the morning. I flew to Chicago. We had a 2 o'clock show that afternoon. At 6 o'clock, I didn't get out of the building until 1 o'clock, and my flight left at 5 o'clock that morning.
Jesus.
By the time I got to the hotel, took a shower, I just went to the airport. And Kerry James, my son's the same way. When I was coming from North Carolina, he was from Bret Hart. He took the red eye all the way across Canada, then down to Chicago. We both met at the airport at the same time, hadn't even been to bed. And we didn't the next day, but I'm telling you, we got home on Monday that about 11 o'clock. And I think me and Kerry James slept until yesterday morning.
Jeez, don't blame me.
But it's cool though. And I'm busy. I loved the experience and bragging about what I do because people know that I'm having fun and doing that. Dutch Mantel is a great guy. He's hell of a worker too, bud.
Yeah, dude.
Please tell him I'm sorry. I'm on the road.
Right. I will tell him don't get you on a Thursday. All right, let's have a look what else we've got here. I do not know what this is, and I'm scared to ask it, but I'm going to ask it anyway. I can't even see this guy's name. It says, is the rat pivot a real thing?
The rat's pivot, the real thing.
I have no idea what that refers to.
Well, he's probably talking about the rats in our days, and I didn't call them rats. They were the women of the night, baby. Mm-hmm. And let me tell you one thing. I never did nothing to nobody that didn't want me to, and they was never underage, and they damn sure wasn't married. Mm-hmm. You hear me? Okay, but if I decided to tell you one story, all right, that's just 1 hour out of that one day that happened 10 times and for 40 fucking years. Do you understand what I'm saying?
That's
Is it real?
Spirit.
You goddamn right, bro. It says it in the Bible. Man cannot live on bread alone. You got to have some butchie. You got to have a woman. No, I'm just kidding.
Right, I'll tell you what, why don't we go to the final game, and we'll carry on until Chris turns up and gives me the hook and tells me to turn this podcast off.
Yeah, he just stuck his head through the door.
He did.
Go ahead.
I bet he did. I'm going to call it the firing line. I'm going to give you some names, and we did this last time on when I interviewed you. It was a couple of years ago. I know you won't remember, but I'm going to give you some names. If there's a tiny story,
here he is, right here.
Oh, what's he saying?
Well, he's saying get the hook. No. Go ahead, man.
Yeah. I'm going to give you some names. You give me maybe even a tiny little story to go with them. And the first one is Arn Anderson.
Arn Anderson?
Mm-hmm.
Arn is unbelievable. I didn't know Arn was a southpaw. I was wrestling for the first time. Never met him in Greensboro. When we kayfabe, didn't share locker rooms. Didn't go over match. And he took me to the ring and he told me to block the punch. He goes to hit me, and I throw my arm up, and he's fucking southpaw. He knocks the living fuck out of me. I went, God damn, why don't you just tell me? I looked right at him and said, God damn, tell me you're a southpaw. How he laughed his ass off.
Next name is Tessa Blanchard.
Tessa Blanchard. I love Tessa. She's a little high-strung. As Tully's daughter. What she's a great talent, this business. I don't know what, and I don't get involved in the heat, but I'm surprised that one of the big companies hadn't signed her. I just don't know what happened, and it's probably none of my business.
I think a bit of she said, an accusation here or there has been flown around, maybe a bit, as you say, high strung, maybe a bit difficult to deal with, but as far as I can tell, she's still a great talent for the women's division.
Well, yeah, she is, man. I hadn't seen her in a year or so. I think I seen her at the thing that happens in Winston-Salem every year, a year ago, and she got into it that night with Sandman, threatened to beat his fucking ass and everything. Oh yes, I'm not shit. Sandman said something to her. And next thing I knew, she was cutting a hell of an interview on him. I'll beat your ass, motherfucker. And I'm going, fuck. I just walked off,
Yeah. You might notice that some of these names are quite random. Eric Bischoff.
Uh okay. He took over WCW. I'm kind of like Jimmy Cornette, but don't get me wrong. I don't hate nobody in this business, and I think we all have our freedom to talk. You know, Jimmy Cornette made a comment not long ago. He's still trying to get over. Okay, that's all. If you're in the business, you understand what I just said. Then I like Eric. Eric's my friend.
Jim Duggan.
Oh,
there you go. Crikey, that woke me up.
Yes, Jim is. I was with Jim in Louisiana, and sad situation. You know, he met his wife Deborah, and she was so good for him. She helped Jim out a lot too in his personal life. Jim was high strung. I first went to and I want to tell you this. It's a little bit of story. So our first night into Louisiana, we did TV in Shreveport. So we go to the bar, and they go to the bar, and Jim Duggan's over here, and Magnum TA, and all of a sudden they get into it with some fucking guys, and it's like watching a fucking cartoon fucking thing, and a guy runs up and ain't shit, and he hits Magnum TA in the back of the head with a tar tool, right? Mm-hmm. And then Magnum didn't even sell it. He turned around, they looked at him, started chasing. The guy dropped the tar tool. Now Magnum's chasing him with the tar tool. Now his buddy, all of a sudden I see a truck coming around 100-mile-an-hour, and Jim Duggan is on the hood of the son of a bitch holding this right here like this. All right. And all of a sudden the guy stops, and Jim goes off the front of it and rolls. It's on his feet. Now he's chasing a truck, and the truck's in reverse going across the parking lot. Uh-oh, I just dropped everything.
No, don't worry.
Do you hear what I'm saying?
I'm hearing you. Carry on.
And funny shit, dude. I mean, that was my first day into Mid-South fucking wrestling. And I'm going, well, what's in store for tomorrow? All right.
Do you know what? Of all the Mid-South badasses, because, you know, you had, I'll include Ted DiBiase in this as well, Ted DiBiase and Matt Bourne and Hercules and Dr. Death and all these guys. I mean, that was like a territory snake pit of just rough, tough dudes.
Well, Bill Watts liked that kind of stuff. He liked the guys that were tough, but the ones that were really tough, you didn't even understand. And I remember George Weingroff. You remember him? He was there. He was a blind wrestler. Oh yeah, he would. Oh yeah, he's the one that would crawl on your ass and eat his way out. He was a tough son of a bitch. And when people come in to try out for wrestling and be stuff, you know, they would tell him, well, wrestle this guy. He gets beats on TV all the time. Oh, yeah. And they wrestled in Georgia, just beat the living dog shit out of them, you know, and then they didn't want to be wrestlers no more. And that's the reason Bill had these guys around, you know, Dr. Death, NCAA heavyweight, Oklahoma senior champion, football player, New Jersey general pro football player. You know, all these guys are just bad to the bone. I got time. I got time telling those stories.
Of course you have. Always.
Okay. This is Eddie Graham, you know, like up in Canada, Stu Hart. You ever know Stu Hart? Mm-hmm. I got to you little bastard. But he had the dungeon up there, but in Tampa, they had a place down there that you go to. I forgot what they called it, but we were there
one day. Did they call it
the
snake pits? Similar.
Yeah, I believe it was.
Yeah.
But we were there, and I never forget this. Me and Robert didn't work the territory. We just went in for a shot. We just went to the meeting anyway, you know, just to hug it in there. And we're in a meeting, and these two guys come in. One of them's I want to be a wrestler, and he's got his fucking manager with him. And I'm going, holy fuck. He's come in. And see, it's things that you don't know, because guys always had tough guys around them. And he's wanting to wrestle somebody. And Eddie Graham said, listen, all these guys are here wrestling, pro wrestler, but you see that guy back there sweeping that broom? And it was his old timer. His name was Spider Galento. Mm-hmm. And he goes, I tell you what, he's 76 years old. And if you beat him, I will let you have a match with one of these guys if you want to. Say, I didn't know. And I'm sitting there, I'm looked at Robert. I go, what the fuck, man? You going to put Spider Glinto, that old man, in the ring with this guy? So Spider comes up there and takes him a little time to get in the ring. And he gets in there and he's going, and the guy's a smart ass. You know what I'm saying? He's got his manager and he's going, what you want me to do with this guy? I don't want to hurt him. And somebody said, come here, kid. They go to do something. And next thing I know, this fucking kid's on his goddamn belly screaming. And Spider's going, oh, it must have been a mistake. You must have slipped. Get back up. Then he gets back up and Spider does something to him. And this guy shits and pisses all over himself. He's out. You know what I'm saying? And this all happened in 30 seconds. You hear me? And I go, holy fuck. You don't realize who people are until you get there. Did you ever know Danny Hodge?
I know of Danny Hodge, yeah.
Danny was my friend too. And he had a little place in Tulsa. So I go to see him. This is bad motherfuckers. You hear me?
Oh, yeah.
Bad motherfuckers. And I walk in this Oklahoma beer joint. And I'm sitting there talking to Danny on a bar stool, and this 7-foot tall cowboy come walk with me. He got a hat, cowboy hat this big, and he goes, hey, all these people over here are telling me you one of them fake wrestlers off TV. And about that time, I don't know if you know Danny Hodge, he had the hand strength. He was a Golden Glove boxer. He never lost. He was a national championship wrestler in college, and all 4 years he never lost. And he gets right up and he goes over and he says, oh, I'm a wrestler too. My name is Danny Hodge. And Danny grabbed his hand, and this motherfucker fell straight to his knees that quick. Danny pulled him around, put the sleeper on him, and the same thing happened there. In 15 seconds, this guy pissed and shit all over himself. This is a 15 seconds. And he's laying in the floor, and Danny looks around to his friends and says, get this piece of shit out of my bar. They drug him out the fucking front door. Good story, though. Yeah. Things that nobody ever knew about. I know we got off course, but let's go ahead.
No, that's what this show's for. Do you know the most badass thing that I ever heard Danny Hodge did was when he broke his own neck in the car accident, and he held his head with his hand, and then punched his way out the car, and then swam ashore with a broken. That's incredible.
Yes, but you just don't even know some of these guys and how tough they are. And it's something just popped in my mind. And I know you're asking me questions, but I love sharing shit.
Please.
Did you ever know Killer Carl Cox?
I know the name.
Do you know who?
That's okay.
Killer Carl Cox, he was over in Australia. He was off TBS when it was real big, and he's from Texas and real. I mean, this is when I was working for Joe Blanchard in the early 80s, 80 and 1981, 80 and 81. But I was a young kid, and I go out and watch the matches. I want to learn. This is when I really realized it was more to our business than arm drags and hip tosses. Because Killer Carl Cox was main event against Scott Casey, and we didn't have music. You just went to the ring, and I was wanting to watch this main event. I wanted to learn. So Scott Casey goes to the ring, and there's no fucking Killer Carl Cox. No Killer Carl Cox. He jumps out and runs back to the back. The referee did. The referee comes back. Still no Killer Carl Cox. And all of a sudden, the doors fly open. Now it's 20,000 people. Doors fly open. He's running to the ring, and he's got about 10 foot of toilet paper out the back of his fucking tights. Okay? Now, he's running to the ring, and everybody's fucking, and he gets in the ring, and he's going around. He don't know what they're laughing at. And every time he turns this way, the toilet paper goes that way, so he don't see it. Then he finally finds it, pulls the toilet paper out. He's embarrassed, puts his head down, runs back to the dressing room. Then the door opens up and he comes out like this, and nobody look at nobody. So did you know he talked to the man, Invisible Man?
No.
His name is Alex. So he always he did the crazy gimmick. That's the reason this worked so good. He always talked to Alex upstairs, up there. He'd point. So finally, and the way he got that in Amarillo, Texas, he was dressing and he looked up and Alex Perez's name was right on the ceiling. And he goes, Alex. And it became his gimmick. Talk to Alex up there. So they start the match off and he stops it and he talks to Alex and he does all this stuff to him. Okay, good. Lock up. Casey arm drags him. He jumps up and he's looking at Alex. Yeah, this time they lock up. Casey arm drags him and hip tosses him. And he's jumping up doing this to Alex in the ring now, but it's 20,000 people. Now, the third time he does that, I think Casey hip tosses him. Casey arm drags him, hip tosses, and slams him. And he jumps up, and he's doing this to Alex in the ring. You had to be there, but understand me. And the reason I'm sharing stuff like this right here, because nobody will ever know it unless I tell this story. And to get to hear it here today is some of the craziest shit I've seen in this business. And boy, and listen to me now. It took 15 minutes to do all that. You hear me? And it was the funniest shit I ever seen in my life. And the people that was in the crowd, they really got their money's worth. Your time again.
I've just looking around. I've realised how you can't see this on the main camera, but like how ghostly white I am. I'm not normally this white. I've got a good tan at the moment, so I just had to tell you that. The next name is Dark Journey.
I really didn't know her, but she was a valet for Bill Watts when I was there, and right when they come in, it was at the end, being Rob, when she come in there, Robert and I were already gone. Only time I seen her again was when I went back to wrestle Flair on one of Bill Watts' show. It's just in one night out. Okay.
I will move on. The Road Warriors. And you and Robert, I mean, sort of, tailor-made opponents for the Road Warriors, really. But didn't you only wrestle them in WWF, or am I misremembering this?
No. We wrestled them for Bill Watts. Bill Watts brought them in. Okay, now you got to understand. Here we are, me and Robert, the top baby faces. This is our territory. They're bringing the Road Warriors in. They've been known to beat people up and all the thing. I got my fellas worked up. If I'm going to get an ass whooping, I'm going to be a man about it and take it. I ain't taking no shit off of them. You hear me? So, and we're like it's a 4 tag team match. We're in Superdome, bro. And I never forget this. Terry Gordy and Animal Joe, they started the match up, buddy. And they beat the living fuck out of each other, laying them in hard and hard and hard. And Terry Gordy comes over and tags me. Oh, my fucking God. I didn't know. I come right in the ring, see, and me being the fucking idiot that I am, I didn't realize these guys knew how to work. I went right in. He grabs me, throws me against the ropes. He just ducked the clothesline and hit me with a drop kick, and hit Mike with
Animal.
Mike.
Hawk or Animal.
Hawk with a drop kick. And I went, oh, fuck. So he shot it. I duck it. I hit him with the drop kick. He goes over the fucking top rope. Hawk feeds in. I hit him with the drop kick, and he goes over the top rope. They're out on the floor. There's 40,000 people in the Superdome screaming and hollering. I'm thinking to myself, what a dumbass I am. What a dumbass I am. These guys know how to work if they want to. Bill Watts must have paid them a lot of money because, boy, they were flying all over the fucking place for me. So,
well,
hey, we beat. Go ahead.
I was actually going to say, how long did it take for them to get the business and sort of lighten up? Because, you know, in their first year or two, they had the reputation of being the stiffest. You know, they would kill people almost.
Okay. Never.
Really?
Well, it's just going on, you know, bro. You know, they had their own thing.
Jimmy Del Rey.
You know what? He first come into Smoky Mountain. I never met him. That's right when Stan Lane left. And I'm in the dressing room, and Cornette tells me, he goes, this guy here is going to be the one to take Stan Lane's place at the Heavenly Bodies with Tom Pritchard. And I look over at him, and he's a redheaded boy with a tooth gone. He looked like Opie goddamn Taylor. And I'm told Cornette, I said, man, we're going to draw a goddamn dime with this guy, man. What the fuck are we doing? He said, oh, we go to da. And I go to the ring. You know, and you don't know people about the business. And it was Jimmy Del Rey and Tom Pritchard. And I locked up with him. I went, you got to be shitting me. This motherfucker's unbelievable. That's my experience with Jimmy Del Rey. He did what a buddy here. And it's like Stan Lane never left the goddamn, I mean, like they replaced him. Well, fuck, they went on to WWF and hell will run up there for a long time, him and Tom.
Yeah,
they were fucking good, man.
Yeah. I asked Dr. Tom, and I said, can you give me a story about Jimmy Del Rey? And he just went, not really. Not one that I can actually tell.
Yes, I know. It's a lot like that. But it was really surprising because to look at him and then get in the ring with him was two totally different stories.
The last name I'm going to give you, I don't know if this is going to end up in a diatribe or whatever, the Young Bucks.
Young Bucks?
Mm-hmm.
We do. We're in a different world. You know, do you know these guys created their own self on the independent scene? They marketed themselves on the independent scene. Japan, Ring of Honor, and all this shit. You know, they didn't have the guaranteed money either, and they made themselves. You know, they made themselves millionaires before they even went to AEW. Over Japan. I mean, I'm serious. All them boys did. They, you know, for the day's wrestling, they're great, and they're over like a sumbitch, boy. I'm not here to say anything bad about them. I enjoy working with them. They're good, and but I just got to say, I can't say that bad. They're great, and they're still great. And you know what? I don't think they're at the top of where they're going to go yet. You hear me? I know they're in WWE, but they still got a lot of more shit in them. And it don't just have to be with one company. Okay? I got you.
With the Young Bucks, purely stylistically, you worked with them. You and Robert worked with them, did you?
No, we didn't work with them. I just did a thing with them. Well, I went to the ring with them in Washington. And, you know, that was with Santana and Ortiz that we beat the fuck out of them. That's when I did the Canadian Destroyer over the top rope.
Oh, my God.
Did I ever tell you how I ever did a Canadian Destroyer?
No.
Well, I need to call it the Morton Destroyer now. But no, I'm wrestling. We're for the GCW during WrestleMania in New York, and we're wrestling Ortiz and Santana. And I'm an old fart. And these guys, we didn't even go on to fucking 2:00 in the morning. And he goes, And you know, I told him, I said, dude, I don't go, I can't remember. Just call this shit in the ring. So I'll never forget doing something. And Santana's got me in a corner, and Ortiz covers Robert. He says, do this right here to me and sell it. He's going to go over behind him. He says, sunset flip me off his back. So boom, here I go. I sunset flip him. And next thing I hear the crowd go, wow, boom, boom. And look here, if you watch the tape, look at it. You know, he did a Canadian Destroyer on her, and I raised up. I'm going, what the fuck happened? I'm looking around. What's going on? It's where he took that fucking bump. You know, I didn't have to do nothing. He did it all. And I guess it was surprising for them people in New York to see my old ass do that. But really, I didn't do nothing. I just sunset flipped him. He did the shit. See, that's a good worker, man.
That is a great work, man.
Yes.
Yeah, you take a move and you don't even know you're taking it, and it's great.
Oh, yeah, I didn't know. I'm looking around. I didn't know he took that motherfucker. And okay.
Ricky, dude,
Hey, but
second time interviewing you. It's always a pleasure, never a chore. Before I let you
hey,
go,
dude, but tell everybody out there that wrote in for questions, I just want to say thank you. If we didn't get to you, thank you very much, because don't forget, this is how we answer questions. You keep asking them, but you go ahead.
yeah, there'll be a part 3, I'm sure, with Ricky, I hope. And but before I let you go, hit me with your plugs. We've got NWA, we've got the School of Morton.
Oh yeah, man! You catch me on Instagram at Real Ricky Morton, Facebook Ricky Morton. I have a wrestling school which was called the School of Morton, but it got hacked. Now it's SOM, which the initials of School of Morton, 505. It comes on YouTube and Facebook every Sunday at 5 o'clock. It's called SOM 505. So 505 time, but that's Eastern time in the United States. So, you 5 hours ahead of it, be in the morning over there for y'all. So, but it's really cool. We're at NWA. We're on NWA Fight TV every Tuesday. Was on there last night. I did a Canadian destroyer on there last night.
Oh my God! Still doing the Canadian destroyers, man.
Yeah, but it's getting hard just to lock up. No, but I'm saying I enjoy what I do. Keep a lookout on my son, Kerry Morton. You can find him Instagram just under Kerry Morton. He I think he'll be coming your way pretty soon. I think he's going to be in England coming up. He's a NWA World Junior Heavyweight Champion, and he travels all over the world defending his belt. And if you're out there, you get a chance to come and see us. If you come to the United States, please come and visit me at my school. I have a museum there. It's unbelievable. And I just added a new thing to it. I don't tell people, you have to come and see it to believe it. All right.
With that being said, thank you so much for joining me for so long. Thank you so much for watching. And Ricky, just before I let you go, what's the best day for Dutch to text you?
Dutch can text me anytime, but the best day is probably a Monday or a Tuesday for me to do that. Right. Okay.
There you go. All right, Dutch, all right. Monday or Tuesday, I'll let you know. Right. Thank you very much, and we'll catch you again.
All right, buddy. Thank you. God bless you, man. Thank you very much.